Looking back, I'm not sure which was worse, the shame or the feelings of hopelessness. I'm not even sure at what point I started to feel better, to be honest. But what I do know is that when my heart started to gravitate towards the book of Psalms, towards David's journal entries, I started to gradually heal. The more I leaned in, the more I leaned into the Psalms, the more appreciation was formed in my heart for David and all that he stands for. And it's not just because he was a great king or because he's the poster child for underdogs are risen, but it's because of how expressive he was. I read the Psalms and feel seen. David shows us that it is possible for a person to tango, to salsa with multiple emotions and still make their way into the presence of God, that our pain does not hinder our access. I'm thankful for David. I'm thankful for Bible characters like him, to be honest. I even feel like he tapped into a level of intimacy with God that was very uncommon for that BC era, to be honest, because let's face it, a lot of the other people in the Old Testament were communicating with God like they were very conscious of the veil, but not David, at least not to me. I've always wondered that what did this guy know that so many other people didn't? Even in 2023, many people still struggle to be as expressive with God as David was, and we are the ones that have been filled with the Holy Spirit. So I'm very thankful for David, beyond how powerful a king he was or how he rose to the throne, but because of how much he leaned into his humanity and he still found his way into the presence of God every single time. There's so many things to learn from his life. There's so many things that going through the Psalms helped me with. There's so many ways that God used his journal entries to bring me comfort, to speak to me, So I just want to share a few things, maybe just three. A few things that I feel like jumped out to me, a few things that I feel like God has used to minister to me from the Psalms, and I truly hope that they would help anybody else who may be in a season of pain or confusion. When David was overwhelmed emotionally, he knew that being in the presence of God would help him, and even if he had to crawl his way there, he found his way there, And there have been a lot of times in my own life where, even though I knew in my heart, in my body, in my soul, in my spirit, that at the end of the day, this is what is going to help me, just basking in God's presence. There have been times where I either struggled to go, because, say, one of the thoughts that I've struggled with in the past is the fact that I feel like voicing out the actual emotion I feel actually makes it more real to me. And because of my ego, because of my pride, sometimes it's a bit more, it's a bit difficult to, to actually say it out loud and admit that, oh yeah, so I know what I'm feeling, but to actually say it out loud, and sometimes that's what God requires of me, for me to actually tell him, not just in my heart, but out loud, and even to write it out. I just feel like it gives it more life, it makes it more real. The moment I actually put it down on paper, it makes it more real. So there have been times where I struggled to actually make my way to God's presence, so I would rather just sulk in what is going on and drown in it, to be honest. Until maybe much later, or when things have gotten very extreme, and I crawl I crawl into the presence of God. But with David, I don't know how long after he started feeling a certain type of way, a couple of times he actually went to God's presence, but the bottom line is that he went, and we can see from a lot of the things that he wrote that it always paid off. From my personal life, I can say that it always pays off. I don't know why sometimes I take time, but it always always pays off. And I just want to encourage anybody who may be in a space where they feel overwhelmed by their emotions and they don't feel like talking to God about it or praying about it. It's easier to just bask in the pain, than to actually take it to God. I just want to encourage you to just find your way into the presence of God, even if, like I said, you have to crawl. You'll be thankful for it eventually. Don't take my word from it, for it, take David's. Then the next thing I want to emphasize about David and his Psalms is the fact that he did not bury his emotions. I already spoke about how expressive he was, but he didn't bury them. He didn't, use nicer words instead of the actual. When he felt like he was, in over his head, when he felt like things were terrible, he actually literally wrote exactly how he felt. And sometimes I feel like maybe we think that we are bothering people. We don't want to express how we really feel or tell anybody, or maybe we feel like there's nothing they can really do. But even though that may be true with human beings sometimes, that's not the case with God ever. He literally wants to do the heavy lifting for us. He told us in Matthew to come, to come with our burdens. He will help us. And even though I 100% understand how sometimes for our own ego or for one reason or the other, it makes us feel good to feel like, we are sorting out our stuff ourselves. It ultimately only, buries us. We were not created to carry the kind of burdens that we do, That's why God is asking us to do. He's literally begging us to bring it to Him. So that's something that even though David was not filled with the Holy Spirit and he came to earth before Jesus came to earth, he knew that taking his feelings to God honestly and plainly would result in comfort and in healing, and that's another thing about it. So yeah. Another thing I want to highlight from David's life is the fact that we are not alone. So I know people say it a lot, but you to think about it, he was a king, right? He had gone through a lot, right? He had gone through so many things, but at the end of the day, he was a king. He had so many people at his beck and call. In 2023, you'd call him a celebrity, say an A-list celebrity. Most likely. He had all the money and power that fills a lot of people's prayer points, and he still struggled with some of this very intense. I mean, David oscillated between apprehension and joy so much. Like I said, I feel same when I read the Psalms, and like I said, he was a king. In 2023, his Instagram following will be through the roof, and yet he dealt with these things. So I just want to encourage anybody who is also in a rough season that you're not alone. You're not alone. I don't know how else you will be surprised the things that everyday people are dealing with, the things that special people, even though everybody's special, are dealing with, the things that your faves are dealing with. You're not alone. Your pain, you're not alone. It's easy for us to forget. It's easy for us to feel like we want to disappear, to be so consumed by our feelings of hopelessness that we think that we're the only ones that even exist in the problem, in the mess. But I just want to encourage anybody that you're not alone. Then I think this is the last thing I want to say, because this was supposed to be a really short video. The last thing I want to say is the fact that David constantly, like I said, he oscillated between apprehension and joy. So in a particular chapter, you could even see him start with questions. Then in the middle, he is praising God. Then at the end again, he's saying something else. But what I noticed that was constant was that he constantly referred to the things that God had done for him, the things that he had seen God do, the things he knew God could do. And this is why I would encourage anybody going through a hard time right now to go over, if you've ever written, if you've ever kept a journal, if you've ever kept a gratitude journal, I'd encourage you to go over those things you've written, because in seasons like this, you'll be surprised how God can use them to give you so much joy. I know that even for me, a lot of the times I forget to go over some of these things I wrote. But I find that when I'm able to muster the strength and actually pick up my journals and go through the things that God has done, my mind is blown. But sometimes our pain can blind us from seeing those things, in the moment. So if we are to find the kind of comfort that David constantly found in the presence of God, one thing that would help us is to go over the things God has actually done for us, no matter how small we think they are. And then lastly, I guess, is that David knew that his only option was God, and he was very vocal about it. He was very clear. He said that in many ways, many times. He knew that without God helping him, there's no way he was going to get out of this rot. He knew that God was all sovereign and it was only God. Despite the fact that he was a king, he knew that it was only King Jesus. He didn't say Jesus, but you get what I mean. He knew that it was only God that could actually help him get out of this mess, out of this funk, and he made it very clear. There's so many reasons why I can even see with my own. I don't even know the full extent of why God said he's a man after his heart, but it's not hard to see. He was such a special person in a time where people were almost scared of God. He communicated with God like he was just a guy that he knew had powers to help him. So yeah, those are some of the things that have brought me a lot of comfort. Some of the things that they seem simple, but they've helped me. They've gone a long way into helping me get out of very, very dark and very tough seasons. I just want to encourage you with some of them, and I really hope that you are able to, if you can, go through the Psalms yourself, spend time with God yourself, go over the things, the goodness of God, the things that God has done for you, and just tell God exactly how you feel in plain English. I found that to be one of the most freeing things that we can ever do. Just be plain with God. My mom always said something to me growing up. I don't even know if she remembers. She says, if you are playing with God, he'll be playing with you. And for some reason, something I've held on to. Just be plain with God. Tell him in plain English exactly how you feel. You'll be surprised how he will help you. He will send you YouTube videos like these. He will send you to certain passages of scripture. He will tell you certain things himself. He will put things in your heart. But whatever the case, whatever it tells you, whatever it brings your way, lean into it. Like I leaned into the Psalms when he had to lead me in that direction in that particular period in time. I really pray that God heals you if you are going through a rough season. I pray that you enjoy the comfort of the Holy Spirit beyond any earthly, any human comfort, any other type of comfort. And I pray that in a shorter while than you expect, you'll be singing songs of praise, sharing your testimony, and also encouraging other people. God bless you, and thank you so much for watching my video to this point. If you've not subscribed, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If this video has helped you in any way, please give it a thumbs up and share with other people you believe it will help. And I'll see you in my next video.